Hey, this is John Griffith at SolidFire, and today I wanted to do a quick demo of something I've been working on. It's a SolidFire Docker driver. So it's a way to give you the ability to use the SolidFire cluster from Docker's Volume API. So there's a number of things that are out there currently in the Docker space as far as volumes. There's Flocker, which does an abstraction and a plugin for various backends. There's also Rancher has a pretty cool tool called Convoy that does kind of the same sort of things. I've always kind of looked at those as sort of, aspiring to be the cinders of Docker. But what I have here today is an actual just SolidFire plugin that you can pull off of GitHub here and install it and run it and have a daemon that actually just responds to the Docker calls directly. So if you look on the GitHub page on the README, you'll see we've got some information here. It kind of talks a little bit about the design and the architecture. It gives a quick description. Importantly, it gives prerequisites on how to install it, how to get Golang set up for it, how to get Docker set up, open iSCSI. So currently right now it is iSCSI only. And then how to actually install it, kick it off, run it, configure it, and then use it. So there's a number of things in here. You can take a look. The interesting things on the config is what we do here is we just go ahead and give the endpoint information for the SolidFire cluster, an SVIP, which is our iSCSI IP, virtual IP that we use, a tenant name, and a default volume size, and then initiator interface and stuff like that. You can read up on this some more if you need to. But what's most interesting is we can also do things like types. So if those of you that are OpenStack customers, you're already familiar with utilizing types to do things like QoS. Well, we can do the same thing in the Docker environment here, right? So we can go ahead and create these arbitrary types with these various names and fill in the QoS parameters that we want. So as a user, you can fill in as many of these types as you want. You can call them whatever you want. You can set the values however you like. The only thing that matters, of course, is the format. You can also actually just specify min, max, and burst IOPS if you want. But in this case, types are kind of nice for people. They like to go ahead and just put it all together and think of it that way. So there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of things you can do. If you go down and you look at some of the usage examples, you can see how to create volumes using the Docker API. You can see how they're auto-created just from Docker if they don't exist, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. Right now what I want to do is just kind of show sort of the quintessential demo app that people like to do with persistent storage, and that's the Redis MobiCounter app, right? So if we look here, I've got this SolidFire cluster, and you'll notice right now it's basically a clean environment. There's nothing on it. So no volumes, no accounts, anything like that. So I'm going to come over here. I've got a couple of OpenStack instances running. These are running Ubuntu 14.04. And I've already gone through and created my config file. So if you look, here's that config file that I was talking about that's in the README, right? So the only thing I change here is, my credentials, my IP address for the MVIP, and then the SVIP. You can easily get that information from your cluster if you look here in the cluster settings. So the MVIP and the SVIP. Now, since I'm using OpenStack, what you're seeing here is actually a private IP. That's why it doesn't match with what I have in the config file. But anyway, that's if you know OpenStack and you know private versus floating IPs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, so it's pretty simple. You've got that set up. I've already installed the driver, which is really easy because literally all you do is you come in, go get -u github.com, kick that off, and it's going to install it. So a couple of things you need to know is if you're going to run it from the Go bin path, you have to make sure that's all set. That information is in the README. Take a look. You may have to do a vi sudo if you're on Ubuntu, or create an alias or something like that to get sudo to work for that path, but no big deal. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we are going to kick off that daemon on 2 different Docker nodes, right? So both of these nodes have the exact same configuration file set up on them. And so we'll go here, we'll do SolidFire Docker daemon, and we'll do start. And we'll go ahead and do -v, which is verbose. And then we'll come over here and we'll do the same thing. Docker, SolidFire, Docker daemon start. Okay, so what we're doing there is we now have a Docker daemon for SolidFire that's just sitting there through a Unix socket listening for requests coming from Docker, right? So it's just kind of idle, ready to go, everything's cool. The next thing that we do is we're going to go into this Docker demo folder that I have here, and we're going to look at this simple Docker compose file. And if you look in this compose file, what we're doing is we're creating 2 containers. One is going to be the Moby Counter app, right, that most of you have probably seen. And then the other one is going to be a Redis DB, right? And what we're going to do is we are going to tell Redis, we're going to tell Docker when it creates this Redis container to create a volume using the SolidFire driver and name it Redis volume and mount it inside the container at /data. Okay, so we've got that all set. So now all we have to do is say Docker compose up and -d for daemon. We're going to run that, and you'll see some things happening down here in our daemon logs. You can see we actually created the volume already and we attached it. If you scroll back through, you can see the attach information in a format. We put ext4 on the device. And now if we go over here and we look back at our cluster and go to volumes now, you can see there's our Redis volume that we created with our default size of 1.1 gig. In addition, we also, since we specified an account Docker, we went ahead and created that account. It didn't exist, but we created it on the fly. So that's all cool. So what does that do? Well, so now if we come in here and we go to HTTP demo 1, you'll see this is the add logos app, right? So what we do is we come into, let's just create some logos. Okay. Nothing really exciting there. But so what we did is we just created these logos, we placed them in the app, and that information is getting stored on the Redis container on the persistent data, or on the persistent storage. So the cool part is now, so this environment is up and running, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shut it down. So we're going to stop. We're going to do Docker compose stop and stop those 2 containers. And then you can look down here and you can see we did a detach, disable, delete, iSCSI, so on and so forth. If you come back to our app, you'll notice, we're stuck here. We're not getting a response back over HTTP. So now let's come back over to our demo 2 machine, our other OpenStack instance, and we'll go into Docker demo on this one. And again, it's the same Docker compose file, right? And what we're going to do is we're just going to say Docker compose up -d. And we'll give that a second. And you can see what happened down here is it went and it said, oh, okay, so this is the account. I need a volume of, of the name test volume or Redis volume that we were looking for. So it'll go out and it'll find that volume. If that volume doesn't exist, it'll create it. But since it does exist, it just retrieves it and gives the information back to Docker, attaches it, mounts it, everything's good. So that's all there is to that. Now, if we go back over here, and now we pick up at demo 2, and of course, if you're writing a real app, you may want to make this actually automatically switch URLs and everything else. But now, if we go to demo 2, oh, there's our little icons that we created, right? So what we have is persistent data storage for our databases in containers. So kind of cool. There's a bunch of other things you can do. This is a nice, simple, quick demo and run through. And if you want to download this and play with it, give it a shot. The thing that's cool is if you do Docker volume, you can take a look at all the different things you can do from the volume API as well. If you want to do things like QoS and things like that right now, what we do is pre-create the volume with those settings using either the Docker Volume API or just the SolidFire Docker Driver API. So you can look in here, there's create, and you can give it all kinds of options and things like that. So there's a number of ways you can do it. Eventually, hopefully we're going to get some support to do some more sophisticated things from Docker Compose and things like that, using the automation and passing those options in. Right now, I can't. There's no way to pass the QoS or the types or anything like that in through Docker Compose, but I think we'll get that. I think that'll be around sooner or later. So anyway, that's about all I have for right now. So if you want to check it out, if you have a SolidFire cluster and you want to check it out, I'd love to get some feedback from you and hear what you think. It's on my GitHub page, github.com, j-griffith. Check it out and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.